those kind of stories are why I'm all about buying real estate with a 30-year mindset. Do I think this $500,000 house 30 years from now is going to be worth $15 million? I mean, that's what it seems like that gain would be. No, because Austin had this crazy upswing, but I do think it's going to continue to go up. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge and obvious that that's what happens with real estate. Podcast. I'm drinking some coffee black and I'm hanging out with Coffee Black. Good to see you guys. Have a good weekend, man?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you do?
Saturday, I worked with Doreen most of the day. We were sending out a bunch of text messages. We went to an open house and just kind of working on the structure for TRE Property Solutions. And then saw you Saturday night, just kind of relaxed a little bit. And then Sunday, what did I do Sunday? Did we have anything yesterday?
No, we didn't. You might have had some calls.
Went to the gym, did some work on the computer, hung out with family for a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, so Doreen runs our wholesale branch at TRE, and that's cool that you're working with her on Saturday, man. So what was that like? And just to back up a little bit, part of this podcast is kind of mindset. And so I'm interested in what you had going on this weekend, and then the transition from, doing that to starting Monday morning, where a lot of people wake up Monday and they're like, all right, got to get back on it. But when you're staying in it, like Saturday, Sunday, it's just all just one continuous process. You don't have that fear. Like, I remember just taking the weekends off and being like, oh man, I got to catch back up, I got to get my mind right, it's Monday. But when you're not living in that space, you don't have that anxiety in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, I used to hate going to work, but no, I mean, Saturday so Doreen has a full-time job, so Saturdays or the weekends are really the time that she has to kind of sit down and focus on this stuff, at least for right now, until she comes full-time. So yeah, I mean, I love it. It's nice. I really enjoy the weekends because it's less hectic and I can sit down and solely focus on that for 5 hours with her. Right. And not have this or all the other stuff that we have going on through the week that can take away from that. So that's what we did. And I like Sunday nights. Like Sunday nights, I'm always ready to wake up in the morning. So like I'm always ready to wake up at 4:30. Mm-hmm. I like to go to sleep so I can get there quicker and start the new day. Mm-hmm. And so the gym doesn't open on Saturday and Sunday till 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. So I sleep in a little bit later till about 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But I always look forward to Monday because I wake up at 4:30 and get to the gym at 5:30.
So you wake up 4:30 and you're pretty much out the door in like 10, 15 minutes, or what does that look like?
No, I wake up at 4:30. I wake up and I take about 30 minutes to just kind of be with myself. And I do a little prayer and meditation. Regardless of, I do that every day, and I have for the last 5 years.
Nice.
If there's a 5 a.m. flight that I have to make, I wake up at 2 a.m. to do that and to get a workout in to make it to the airport by, 3:30 to be able to start the day. So, no, I don't just get up and run. I always wake up and take some time for myself and to kind of recenter and connect to God, and then I go
nice.
about my day.
Is that the only time you do that? You don't do that like later in the day, or?
It depends. For the most part, it is in the mornings. But if there's something going on, or if I feel overwhelmed, or if I feel anxious or stressed out, I can always kind of just take a few minutes to
refresh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I usually do it. I have to just come. I have to try to lay in the sun every day. I've realized like that's my meditation. Like usually 3:30, 4:30, I just go lay down for 10, 15 minutes, and it just rejuvenates me. And it's part of meditation, prayer, just slow down, relax as well. But now I'm trying to make it more of a habit. So like when you first started doing that, wake up and do that process, was there a struggle of just doing it consistently? Did you not want to wake up, or did you just did it and it's become a habit and you can't do anything else? Do you still have any challenges with it, or is it just so natural?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that alarm clock go off and my mind says, go back to sleep.
Every day? Yeah.
That's just kind of natural, but I get up and go through it. But the prayer and meditation, no. But waking up early, it goes in cycles, right? So I'll do that for a while, and then for whatever reason, I'll get lazy and start waking up later, and then I'll get back on it, and it'll be like, all right, 6 a.m., do that for a week. All right, 5:30 a.m., do that for a week. 5 a.m., then 4:30, and, I don't know. Maybe I'm at 4:30 right now, so maybe.
Sure.
That seems to be working. That's
do you think
time.
Is it because to me the way I always perceived it is the night before. Like I usually stay up kind of late working on my phone and stuff, and I know I probably shouldn't. Like there's a lot of things that you do that I'm like, man, I need to implement that. But the night before, is that like the day that it's hard to get up at 6 or 5? Is that because the night before you didn't go down as early, or is it just?
No, dude, I'm a very lazy person. I don't know if you can relate to that at all, but I mean, for my entire life, I've always loved just kind of relaxing. And so, but I'm very, I'm like the most disciplined, lazy person I know.
I like that.
I'm very hard on myself in terms of like pushing myself to not fall into that.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, there's some times where I can't go to sleep, or dude, the worst, I don't know if you experienced this, but the worst is when I am laying in bed and I'm thinking about having to go to sleep, and then therefore I can't go to sleep. And I don't know if y'all experienced that, but it doesn't really affect me. Even if it did and I didn't get as much rest as I normally do, just get up and push through it. And it's not bad. It's just that it's that mental voice in your head that just says, no, go back to sleep. But once you get up and you get moving, it's fine. I don't think about it again.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of people are disciplined, but just on certain aspects of their life, like something that they're like passionate about, and it could be video games or whatever it is. It's like that's where they put their time and energy and effort into. And like what you're saying is, it's even for you. Like you obviously love business and growing, and waking up is what's required to make that happen. But you still struggle with like, oh, I don't really want to get up. I'm tired. And so, I'm just saying that because I think there's people that have the passion about what they do, but there's things that you have to have it about to help you get there. Like what you're saying, like waking up early is part of that to help you make that work.
Yeah, man. I mean, you just got to push through it.
Yeah.
I like waking up early.
I do too.
But that split second in the morning when I hear my alarm go off, I don't like waking up early.
Yeah.
However, 10 minutes afterwards, it's okay.
Yeah. Then you throw kids in the mix, and it gets insane.
I believe it.
Because, George will wake up at 5 a.m. and like, there's no prayer and meditation. He wants to play. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like I respect, I'm trying to learn too. And, I definitely think that that's important to really be sharp, is to have a pretty disciplined schedule. I make it right in my mind, cause I'm like, yeah, I'm staying up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. getting this work done. And, I can't get up at 5 anyways and do all that stuff because we got to take care of the kids and get them ready and go to school. So there's different ways to go about it, but I think having the disciplined approach is the best way.
Yeah, I mean, however it looks and whatever works best for you, right? Like for me,
Sure.
It's I can't remember the last time I stayed up past midnight.
Yeah.
Honestly, like purposely or like looked at the clock and it was past midnight. For me, because of course I could stay up till 3 a.m. and I could wake up at 5 a.m. And maybe I could have gotten more done. But what happens for me is if I do that, then I'm less productive for the following.
Sure.
16,
Yeah, I would say
18
probably
hours.
you probably wouldn't be as productive if you did that. And this is one of the things that I remember Gary Vee talking about is he's always like, go work, and everyone's like, well, he's like all about work and no sleep, and it's like, no, like, he's like, I get 8 hours every night, and there's been some serious studies of how beneficial sleep is for you, and so I think what we're trying to do is something for longevity. Like we always talk about this, we want to do this for 30, 40, 50 years. It feels like we're trying to go on this quick sprint and sell our company in the next 2 years. Yeah, maybe it would make sense not to sleep for 2 years, but that's not what we're trying to set up,
Yeah, I mean, even then, for me, I promise you I'll be more productive.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
If I get some rest than if I don't. But yeah, I mean, it's about being productive with your time while you're awake. It's not about creating more time. It's about being more productive with the time that you have, I believe.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, man. I've been thinking a lot about that because I have different business entities, and like, one of them on the management company, we get paid salaries, right? And I've thought a lot about just this concept of what's your salary to the time that you're putting in versus salary versus the value that you bring. And to me, the time doesn't matter. That's how I look at it. Like,
yeah,
you could be putting in, 50 hours and someone could be putting in 1 hour, and that 1 hour could be just as valuable, and for a lot of reasons. Maybe you have connections, maybe you have 20 years into those.
If you put in 1 hour and bring in half the revenue of that company for the whole month,
right,
then it's obviously more valuable than the person who's putting in 50 hours and just filing paperwork.
And that's why, CEOs make, $10 million a year. It's not that they're working 1,000 times more than the person that makes the median salary for that company.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's the key and that's what I've tried to always focus on is how am I going to leverage as much value as I can in the short amount of time that I can. Like one meeting, how can I bring all the value I can and take that and go implement that on all these other different aspects. And then you can get 5 things out of that versus just one.
Yeah, it's always learning.
Yeah.
And implementing.
Mm-hmm. And finding the right people.
Right. Yeah, that is, that really should be how the salary thing is viewed.
That's how I view it. I know that's how you view it because of how we set everything up with us.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe it's different, but I think that salaries can make somebody lazy.
That's interesting.
Like if
I can see that.
If you got I can see how that could be the case. Like if I knew for sure I had this amount coming in every month or bi-weekly, it's like, it's already coming in.
Sure.
Just got to do this amount.
Do what's required to keep that coming.
Keep that coming. But for at least the way we have things structured, it's like if we don't go out and get things done and close deals, and we don't get to eat except for what we kill, right? And I like that mindset because for me, it always pushes me to keep going forward and to not get complacent and to not get lazy.
Yeah, dude, I 100% agree. I don't think that many people look at it that way, but I definitely do, and I'm glad you do because we're partners, so that makes it way better. And I guess the challenge is when you start scaling and growing, like, we grow and then someone takes over some of your responsibilities. Well, now we got to go pay that person for that. So it's like, I guess I can see the value of setting up the infrastructure for that to be in place, but we could just do that later.
Yeah, I'm not saying salaries are wrong. We pay salaries right now. I'm just talking about like from personal experience.
You're right. I have the same experience. Anytime I've had a salary, I've honestly just been like, what do I need to do to keep this? I want to outperform for sure, but I wasn't looking at it like I want to, go just all in on this and do everything I possibly can to grow. Like I was just like taking that salary.
Well,
that was me looking at the clock. I hated that, dude.
Yeah. Well, and it's bigger than that too. I think that's our investing mindset as well, is to continuously go broke.
That's true.
And like, you remember,
I like how you put that.
You have to continuously go broke, and comes in, put it right back out into either the business, into marketing, into whatever it is, or to another real estate investment, and go bring in some more money, go do the same thing, and just continuously go broke.
Did you just come up with that? I've never heard that.
Guess who said it?
Grant.
Yeah,
Did you really?
It's your main man.
I like that.
He says, I tell all my employees to continuously go broke. He's like, I want my employees to continuously go broke. Blah, blah, blah. Like,
let's dig into that. I think it's important. We're just being real and just laying it on the line. Like, anytime we get money or capital, we're putting it right back in. And Alex and myself will have, like I'll have like $2,000 in my bank account at any time. And it's
or negative.
I mean, there's a big risk, but and I don't think this is for everyone. Like, we definitely lean towards the more entrepreneurial, more risk. To me, it forces me to go out and do more.
Right.
And I like that pressure. I like to be like, I gotta go get something. And then the goal is to look back and be like, wow, like we built a lot back here, and not just, stack up cash and count it every day. We're not even thinking about it. We're just on to the next.
Well, I learned that.
And we drive the Priuses.
I learned that from you. Because that's not the way that I was raised.
I wasn't raised that way either.
I'm just saying, and even up until recently, over the last couple of years, like, that's not the way I lived my life either. It's like, I really enjoyed having that nest egg of, like, it's the FU money that you were talking about the other day, right? Like, I got it, I'm okay, I can do whatever I want. But when you literally go all in with that every time you have it, you have to continue to push forward, or you won't.
Yeah, and I remember, like, I think this is a good example. I just remembered because you and I were talking about you had some money for a long time, for like 2 or 3 years that you were sitting on, and you just never did anything with it because you were always trying to figure it out. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
it wasn't like 30, 40 grand. And you're like, I'm looking at this investment. I'm looking at this. I'm buying a house. I'm like, Alex, just buy the house. Remember that one in Round Rock? Mm-hmm. And I was like, just buy it. We'll figure this stuff out later. And eventually, I guess you just said, screw that.
Well,
was that on the first deal we did?
Yeah, we put in. Well, it was before that. So it was not just buy the house. This was like, just buy canopy. Just go. And because I was trying to figure out where I wanted to put it.
Right.
And but I loved the safety that I felt of having it liquid with me whenever I needed it.
Right. And which I get that. I do get that.
Dude, it's stressful, like, I don't know if it's because of stress or what, but like, my hair is turning white.
It's gotta be.
I'm 26 years old. I don't know if it's genetics or if it's stress, but my hair is turning white more and more all the time. But yeah, I loved that feeling of safety. And I mean, what I was always taught, so I didn't really get taught finance or financial knowledge from my parents, but more my grandparents. Mm-hmm. And they're very conservative, and they always invested, but they never got very risky. Yeah. But it worked out very well for them. And so that's kind of what I was taught, like dividend paying stocks, security, always work hard, save your money, invest it, but don't get too risky. Don't over leverage yourself. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah. That type of mindset. And it worked. I mean, they both grew up in the Great Depression, right? But it worked out very well for them. And, I kind of took that, and that was kind of the mindset. We never really got too deep into it, but I always watched them and listened to them, and that was kind of the conversation. But then I started doing my own education and learning on my own and listening to other people. But yeah, I mean, I forget what question you asked me, but it didn't start with the house. No, it was stocks. And so I had, like 40, 50K, and I was like, well, I'm just going to open up a Roth IRA, and I'm going to put $1,000 in there. And we were buying the same stock. I would make $20, and you would make $8,000 in a day. You'd be like, this is horse shit. I don't want to make 20.
I'm all calling you, Alex, great day.
Yeah. And
and
I made $20, and I was like, this is not exciting. And so then I was like, all right, I'm going to put 10K in there.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, let's put 15 more.
Yeah.
And then it was all in. And I was on the fucking roller coaster, man. Like 20% up, 30% down. These were very risky stocks. And then I had some more money coming in. So that was when I was making $12 an hour. Right. But then we opened up the first business, and I was making really good money. And at that point, I was able to go in on the first house. But yeah, I had never bought any real estate before. I had studied real estate. I knew what the benefits were. I knew, why I should do it. But it was like $26,000 we had to put in each. Mm-hmm. At first, it was like 13, and then a HUD lien came up, so we had to put 30 more in. Mm-hmm. But since then, I've never looked back.
Yeah.
And I've always gone all in. And as a byproduct, net worth has gone up from 40K to, on paper, over $1 million.
Right. It's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, because when you said like I'm talking about like growing up and where you got it from, my mom was always very, the way I perceived it. I mean, and I saw her literally wake up at 4:30 every day, and it was just work all the time, essentially. And the way I saw everything was she was doing very well, but she literally just never spent money on anything other than like what she was going at. Like we didn't really, she did. She bought me a nice truck when I turned like 20 or 21. That was like a big purchase. But other than that, like she was all about like, and I think y'all's parents are the same way, but she's like, order water at the restaurant, or we're probably not going to the restaurant, and just constantly just conserving. And my brother and I definitely got that from her. My brother took it to the extreme, and that's cool. Like it's a different lifestyle. And then I'm like that, but and then I'm like totally the opposite for business. Like I'll go like just spend a ton of money, but it's all for business for me. Like I might just go drop, $500 on whatever it is, and not even think about it. But then I still have a very conservative mind where I don't want to go just, I'm like, hey, do we need to get this new Tree Homes email for $10 a month? Yeah. And it's just a mindset. And I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to think through it more and more over time. But I like that. What did you say? Constantly go broke? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I totally agree with that.
I know. And I mean, that's really the kind of way we live it. And, I think there's some balance there. You gotta be strategic with it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not, yeah, you're right. Like, you can't just go all in and not think through this and have plans and strategy. Like, we'll go all in and leave a couple thousand knowing that we've got another couple thousand coming in the next week.
Well, and it's also going in on the right things, going all in on the right things.
And everything we go in on is meant to grow or bring back money.
Yeah, of course. But like we say no 999 times out of 1,000. But that, 1 out of 1,000 we go all in on it because it's the right one to go all in on, right? Mm-hmm. And just repeatedly doing that, it is paid off. It is, created exponential growth. Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you kind of hit that point, and I know Lexi was the opposite for a while. It's like, it's not, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's for everyone, but once you kind of get your mind over, like, oh, this money is like actually not more valuable sitting in my bank account. It's actually losing money versus if I put it in an investment and it's gaining money. That's what we're doing. And once you kind of like understand that, for some reason when you're not there, you don't look at it that way. You just, I guess maybe it's the fear of losing it. No, I think you understand it. It is, I think obviously that's the whole reason of doing it, right? I think everybody comprehends that. But yes, it's the fear of this could go wrong and I could lose it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if I guess for us, it's if you know what you're doing and you do the research and you put in the time, you can minimize that fear as much as possible. Do the inspections, check the foundation, plumb, all these things. And sometimes we don't even do that, but maybe it's because we have such a good price.
That's what I mean. We
so
know
all the factors come into play. And
if you're able to get, $1 for every 60 cents you put in this bucket, why would you not go all in and do that?
Right.
And that's essentially kind of what we're going all in on every time. That's why we say no 999 times for all these different buckets. But when that one bucket comes up, we're like, okay, let's just dump it all in there and take it all.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting, man. Like we had a call yesterday with someone who's going to help us out on some capital for a deal. And they're, giving us advice, and I appreciate it. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, we know. We've been doing this for a while. We're buying this property for a really, really good price. And they're like, make sure to not do this or that or that. We're like, yeah, we get it. We've been doing this.
It's a little different. That's the situation was a little different. It's like, it's like your grandma.
Yeah. No, I know. That's what, I love it. I mean, I appreciate it, and it's good to reiterate it and hear it again.
I mean, my grandmother says the same thing to me. She, they never know what I'm doing, and like, I bet, like yesterday I was talking to my mom. She's like, "How many rentals do you own?" And I told her what we got, and I'll tell my grandmother. They don't understand, man. And I'll tell my grandmother what I got going on. She's like, "Alex, don't over leverage yourself. Like, don't worry. I got it. We're okay."
Yeah, it's important and I agree. I mean, I used to preach on that all the time, and then I realized what that. Like, perfect example. I mean, when Corona got hardcore, like I did start seeing how quickly that could happen, and I always perceived myself as not being over leveraged, and I wasn't. That's why I was able to make it through. But you're like, wow, like things can change that fast. And that was a freak accident, right? But not freak, I mean, freak event. But like your grandma and the other lady we were talking to had probably seen 10 of those things in their life, and probably seen hundreds of people not make it through, Well,
and that's the thing. I mean, I believe that we are doing the right things, and we're not over leveraged. And I mean, I'm the first one to tell you if I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole reason why we stick to being so aggressive on our buys. It's not really. I mean, we're trying to grow and do more deals, and we would want to buy everything we can. And so we're just buying the ones that make sense with a conservative approach that we feel good about. We'd buy more if we could, but it's just about finding them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree. We always, so I say no 999 times.
Yeah.
And that's why it's never failed us so far. I don't know if it's failed you up to this point, but it hadn't failed me. Stocks are the worst. I've lost a lot of money in stocks, but I've never lost a penny in real estate the way that we buy it.
Yeah. Stocks are weird. I think a big part of this, and we've talked about this in the past, is the mentality and mindset of like, if and I don't know for sure, but if you never looked at your stocks the way that you do with your real estate, maybe you wouldn't have sold it and maybe you would be fine.
Yeah, but see, that's the issue is I wasn't approaching it with I did not want my money in there for 40 years.
Right. And that's like when I do stock, that's what I tried to do. And I was always preaching that to you too. Like,
I was just gambling. I love gambling too. And like,
dude,
if we can, if there's some stocks that are fluctuating 10, 20% on a daily, weekly basis, like $40,000, let's see what we can make. And sometimes
I hear you, man.
Sometimes it wouldn't go well.
I tried it because I had a gambling problem and Well, I mean, I think so. I think so. I mean, I haven't messed with the sports game, and I'm not putting in the money to have a gamble like the way you're saying it. I actually think I have some thoughts and thesis around. I want to be in this for 30 years. I mean, you know that about the stocks that I'm in, and so I try hard to not be like, is this a 50-50 bet? Because I have had a problem with that, and I've seen how it can go bad. So I try to stay away from that. I'll take risks, but at least the way I perceive it is I'm not gambling. I'm just taking risk with a lot behind it.
I think you have to have the don't look at it mindset, dude, because it gets emotional. Like it's
yeah, that's
rough.
what I'm saying. Like real estate takes you out of that. Like you have no ability to do that. And I don't think that this is going to happen again, the way that the market's gone up in the last 20 years. And maybe I told you about this, but I met with Damien on Friday. This guy bought his property in South Austin for $12,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth $560,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, those kind of stories are why I'm all about buying real estate with a 30-year mindset. Do I think this $500,000 house 30 years from now is going to be worth $15 million? I mean, that's what it seems like that gain would be. No. Because Austin had this crazy upswing, but I do think it's going to continue to go up. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge and obvious that that's what happens with real estate.
For sure, but even if it didn't, we got into it for much cheaper than it's currently worth. Even if it stays at its current price, right? And that's kind of the whole thought process. Is obviously when we're buying real estate here in Austin or Round Rock or surrounding areas, we know that the value is going to increase. It should increase. However, we don't buy at market value hoping that it increases.
Right.
Our investment has increased,
the day we closed.
Yeah. Our money is worth,
20% more.
Right. 40% more, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, good stuff. Mindset. I appreciate these talks, try to give value to people, but I think it's always learning myself as well. So thanks, man. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. You got anything else for mindset?
Always go broke.
Go for broke. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please comment, like our channel, subscribe. We're here to help, add value any way we can. And I hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back. We're doing this constantly. So every day we're putting out new stuff. Thank you guys.